We're going to be talking about AMA Supercross.
Supercross. Yes.
This weekend they were in
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
MetLife Stadium.
Where it was finally dry.
Yes, it was finally dry. They also raced a little bit earlier in the day.
Much earlier. That's
Yeah.
why I missed a lot of it because I was still at work.
Yeah, because the race day for us, or the gate drop, started at noon here. So it was quite early.
Yeah, at noon is when we closed the doors at work.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so there was no way I was going to make that.
Yeah.
Um,
But I was excited going into this weekend. We have another East Coast boys for the 250s. They were back, and as we know, their championship has been so close. We had 6 different winners so far. Unfortunately, they didn't take the crown in the last East-West Coast showdown. It was Cole Davies from the West Coast,
Yes,
our
the
New
Kiwi.
Zealander. Yeah, exactly. But then again, the East Coast boys didn't have a break. They came back immediately for their 250 round in Jersey.
I will say I was also very excited that it was a dry race.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I do want, no matter what I'm watching, I do want rain races. I
Yes.
just don't want only rain races or too many of them because
Yeah.
I thought the first mud race was so insane. It wasn't really a race. Last race was a little bit better.
It was better, yes, for sure.
According to you, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, no. It was definitely much better, and then this one was dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually humid. It was quite hot for them and windy.
Yeah, Jersey, right.
That's what they described. So it was interesting. But now, for the very first time in the 250 SX East Coast division, we have a repeat winner.
Woo!
Yes, Seth Hamaker is won this weekend
He
again.
brought the hammer.
Yes, he brought the hammer, and he made it. Hamaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a stretch. But anyways, he ended up winning. I believe he took the whole shot. He rode the race right from the beginning. It's the first time him having the solo red plate now. So he's the sole leader of the East Coast rider championship because he was
Okay.
sharing it for RJ for a minute. But now he has pulled away from RJ just a smidgen. I think it's like 3 points or something. So it's still really, really close. They still have I think 2 more races or so to go. So RJ also came in second, and then Tom Vial came in third. And then also the nice thing was Jorge Prado, who has been injured this season.
He's back?
Not back, but he started training again, and he was there with the commentators for a little bit.
Okay, that's awesome.
And they were also highlighting, in general, the Spanish commentary that they have now for a year, which also sounds so fun.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so they've been having it for a year now, and it's been apparently really popular, which I believe. It's just I don't understand enough Spanish.
It's also a lot of time very fast paced, the talking.
Super fast-paced.
Where I'm like,
Which I get because the sport is so fast.
of course, in your commentating,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of is happening within a quote unquote a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And but I do think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that they're expanding their audience.
Yeah.
You know, if you're calling yourself a world championship, you know, then make it available for everyone to
Yeah.
watch. I mean, you know my grief about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we have 2 more or less losers of the 250 SX round in Jersey. Unfortunately, Chance Jaimes, who was successful in the last 2 races, had came off the track, which was just
During
a little
the
bit
race?
unfortunate. Yeah, so he ended like way in the back. He ended so he finished last.
Ugh.
And then another a little bit of a loser, which is unfortunate. Nate Thrasher.
A little bit of a loser.
Well, not a loser, but he just had
Yeah,
an
little-
unfortunate incident because he was ahead of RJ for a while, and then Nate just had some bad luck, or just things didn't work out for him. So then he ended up falling back to 5th position.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Going into oh yeah, I was right. Sorry, I just saw the overall rider championship points for the 250 SX, and it's 3 points between RJ and Seth. So it's going to be interesting because RJ won last season,
Yes.
right? And it was really fun.
I was
and
also happy for
emotional. Yeah.
RJ because, like, I know that especially if you're in 250 SX, the older quote unquote
Yes.
you get, like at some point people are like, yeah,
Yeah.
you need to win your championship.
Uh-huh.
So, and I think he's already like
29.
28,
He's
29,
old.
yeah, old or whatever. So I was very happy for him. But this year, it would be, well, if he gets to defend it, then that means if he defends his championship, does that mean he gets to go to 450 next year?
I think it really depends on if he gets
A
a
seat?
bike. Yeah,
Okay.
if there's an offer for him to go up.
Maybe
I don't think
Cactus
there's a
Tiger you
guarantee.
can because I thought I thought either someone told me or I read somewhere that you win it and then you get to defend it, and then the chances are maybe higher than that you
Maybe,
get to.
maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, he's
you know?
definitely defending it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's fighting quite hard to be able to keep it up.
RJ.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if that's good for you if I'm rooting for you.
Oh yeah, maybe
Yeah.
not.
Sorry. Sorry.
Then going into the 450 SX, Chase went into the weekend very confident, and spoiler, he ended up winning it.
Yes.
Yeah, he had.
I did watch that race, actually.
Yeah, and he did have an excellent race. He rode out quite the lead. He had the whole
He
shot
was
immediately. He was riding
dominating
away
on the whoops.
Yeah, exactly. Even Cooper Webb afterwards said like the two whoop sections were like his detriment because Chase was literally, I think, 0.6 faster in the whoop sections, which is a lot.
What I thought was interesting, the commentator said, is that like, and apparently Webb requested it, that during this week now, they broke down his racing and they dissected it and stuff like that. And sometimes I'm like, maybe you don't need to do that because like, regardless of whether or not I'm a supporter of Cooper Webb, he is very strong, right? Is he leading the championship?
I think
he's still leading the championship, right?
Yes.
And last year he got really, really close on winning it, right? And he's especially always, I think, very strong in the second part of the race. So sometimes I'm like, instead of maybe breaking it down, maybe lifting it up. You know, you know what I mean? I mean, if that's if he really requested that and that's his preferred way of, you know, attacking things, sure. But sometimes I'm also like, you don't always have to bring down the hammer just because you only came second, you know?
Yeah, but I think maybe it's also because we're getting towards the end of the season. There's only 3 races left. So he's trying to figure out where exactly he needs to make up the time to...
yeah, but the thing about it is he's leading. So it's like, maybe instead of being like, where need to make it up, where can I like push it even further, you know?
I completely get that. It's just, I think it's because Chase has been doing so well and he has
I'm happy for Chase.
A history of doing well in like the later part of the season. So they're just trying to see where is the little bit that Cooper can improve to make it to that, maybe to win again the overall rider championship.
Maybe let me rephrase this and be like, okay, I'm hoping that while they're breaking that apart, that he's taking also enough care of his mental health that he's not so much down on himself and be, you know, because like, yeah, maybe you need to, you know, fine tune your racecraft, but also fine tune your mental health, you know, because I get that winning is the only thing that matters to these guys, but it is sometimes it's like, yo, like, like you're so hard on yourself. You're such a like.
Well, and also for Supercross, they don't get a break.
They don't, you know.
Especially the 450 guys, they don't get a break. It's
like
so intense.
Like 2 times they have 1 week off or some you know.
And then do they really have the week off?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
no, it's intense. So Chase came in first, Cooper came in second, and there was at one point, I think Chase had like a 14 plus second, close to 20-second lead, but then there was somebody who had crashed in front of him, so he had to back off a little bit. But then he still had an excessive lead.
It was a very solid race by him.
Yeah, it was very consistent, very solid. He also said he had a nice flow going, which was so interesting for him. It just like it kind of just went. It felt like very smoothly, and he was in this like flow or trance, not trance almost, but you know, like
of course, like, in the zone.
In the zone, exactly. And then even Aaron Plessinger, who came in third, he said even after the first practice, he was over this track.
Oh yeah,
like,
it wasn't for him.
Track was not for him.
I'm glad that he still came third because I know that he struggled at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it was also maybe a little bit of luck because Justin Barsha was third for a while,
and then he went down.
Yeah, so then that hurt
badly
him.
Also,
yeah, exactly. I'm trying to see. He ended up coming in 18th, which is such a bummer because he started off the race so well. So that definitely helped Aaron Plessinger. But I mean, that's racing.
I will also say it's kind of awesome for us to see Chase. Because Chase, I would say, is probably in his prime, you know? And so when we started watching... Supercross last season. He had come in as a reigning champion, but he had just switched teams, so he wasn't as dominant as he was before. And we had, of course, a lot of wins by Jet in the beginning, and then like other people won, but it was like we didn't get to see Chase at Chase's best.
For the Supercross part of it, because that's the only part of the season that we watched. Because for motocross, I think he did really well.
Yes,
once they went outside.
But Jet still ended up winning it, right?
I
thought Jet won both.
Could be, but I think Chase had a really good second half.
Yes, but it is it's awesome to see him in that, like, oh, we get to see him shine, kind of like we get to see Marc Marquez doing his thing right now.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome.
Yes. Well, it's also just so the Supercross is a lot of fun just because it's a lot of action.
Yes.
It's unpredictable.
Very
just
unpredictable.
Because every track is so different. The consistency of the ground is so different. Sometimes it works in favor to one or the other, just like any type of racing, really.
Absolutely.
But it's just like they're closer together at times, so that a little, or like I feel like a mistake is often has big repercussions.
Yeah, especially because it is so costly to, like, once your bike is out of position, right, it takes a lot of time to turn it around because you're obviously in like some type of dirt or mud. Your bike gets stuck, or maybe if even worse, you're on an incline, and the bikes are not particularly light, especially in the 450, and you're also a little bit restricted in your movement and when you're in your gear and stuff like that. So it's kind of like it has this cool element that bike racing has in general. It's like you never know what will happen until the end.
And it also has this danger element to it. I mean, there's so many people, unfortunately, who are either currently riding with injuries or are out with injuries. So it's like
Eli, both of the Lawrence, Jason Anderson, and that's just I can think of top of my head, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it makes it just all the more interesting. And then also having gone to one event so far, it's a great atmosphere 100%. To go as a fan. There's so much entertainment, the noise, the spectacle. I mean, it's very American in that way, which is not a criticism. It's just
an observation.
It's great because they provide great fan service and entertainment.
Yes, it's very much poised towards entertainment.
Yes.
Like a lot of American sports.
Yes.
But, it's just an observation. It's not necessarily a critique.
No, not at all. But yeah, so overall now in the Rider Championship for the 450 SX, Cooper Webb is still leading, but only by 9 points.
Okay.
So it's not a lot. Chase Sexton is second, and then a little bit further behind is Ken Ruction. As much as we love Kenny, I don't think he's really a contender for the overall championship anymore, just because
he would have to essentially win everything, and then the other guys maybe not finish any of their races.
Yeah, or they have to make barely any points, if any at all.
Exactly, for him to.
Which I think is
could happen. Injuries could happen, but we don't want that for the driver or riders. And I think Kenny just needs to heal, and then next season really go on to the attack.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. So I think that would wrap up everything we have to say about Supercross.
Yes.